Imagine, if you will, a world of endless grasslands under a boundless sky. A world of fierce nomadic tribes bound by honor, driven by survival, and, well, constantly at war with the elements and each other. This was the Mongolian steppe of the 12th century, a fractured landscape of courage, cruelty, and chaos. Into this world, a child was born, destined to shatter tribal boundaries, forge an empire on an unprecedented scale, and leave a name that echoes through history with both terror and awe: Genghis Khan. Was he merely a brutal barbarian, a scourge upon civilizations? Or was he a visionary leader, a unifier who reshaped the very map of the world? The answer, like the man himself, is complex. So let us journey back to uncover the story of the great Khan, the man they called Chinggis. Before Genghis Khan, the term Mongol referred to just one tribe among many vying for dominance on the vast East Asian steppe. Life was a relentless cycle dictated by the seasons, the needs of the herds, and the shifting loyalties between clans and tribes. Groups like the Tatars, the Merkits, the Karits, and the Naimans, led by charismatic Khans or chiefs, raided each other for resources, horses, and captives. Alliances were forged in blood oaths and just as easily broken by betrayal. Power was fleeting, survival paramount. It was a harsh school, breeding resilient warriors and cunning leaders, but preventing any lasting unity. Shamanistic beliefs connected them to the spirit world and Tengri, the eternal blue sky, yet earthly conflicts defined their daily existence. This volatile crucible was the world awaiting the arrival of a boy named Temujin. Around the year 1162, near the sacred mountain Burkhan Khaldun, a son was born to Yesugei, chief of the Borjigin clan, part of the Mongol Confederation, and his wife Holun, herself captured from the Merkit tribe. They named him Temujin. Legends claim he was born clutching a clot of blood in his fist, a sign perhaps of a future destiny written in conflict. Though life on the steppe was unforgiving, young Temujin experienced the bonds of family and the rough joys of nomadic childhood. He learned the essential skills, riding almost before he could walk, mastering the bow, enduring the brutal winters. He formed a close bond, an anda or blood brotherhood, with another young noble named Jamukha, a friendship that would profoundly shape his future both for good and ill. But stability was fragile. When Temujin was just 9, his father Yesugei arranged his marriage to Borte, daughter of Di Sechin, a leader of the influential Ungarat tribe, securing a valuable alliance. Leaving Temujin with his future in-laws, Yesugei began his journey home. Along the way, weary and hungry, he encountered a camp of Tatars, long-standing enemies of his clan. Unwisely accepting their hospitality, he was recognized and secretly poisoned. He managed to stumble home only to die shortly after, leaving his family vulnerable. With Yesugei gone, the clan dissolved. Rivals, unwilling to support the family of a fallen leader, abandoned Holun and her young children to fend for themselves. Cast out onto the harsh steppe, they faced starvation and exposure. It was a brutal lesson in the precariousness of power and loyalty. Holun proved incredibly resilient, teaching her children survival skills. Temujin, even as a boy, displayed fierce determination, reportedly even killing his own half-brother Bektar in a dispute over spoils, a ruthless act hinting at the iron will developing within him. These years of hardship forged his character, instilling in him resilience, resourcefulness, and a deep understanding of both loyalty and betrayal. Temujin did not forget his father's plans or, his family's humiliation. As a young man, he sought out Borte and claimed her as his wife, really cementing the alliance with the powerful Ungarat tribe. This connection provided a crucial base of support. Slowly, painstakingly, Temujin began to attract followers, no-core drawn not just by lineage, but by his charisma, determination, and reputation for fairness and rewarding loyalty. He was building his own power base, step by cautious step. Disaster struck early in his marriage when the Merkit tribe rivals seeking revenge for Holun's earlier capture by Yesugei raided Temujin's camp and kidnapped Borte. This was a devastating blow, both personally and politically. But Temujin refused to yield. He sought help from the most powerful Mongol leader of the time, Togrul Khan of the Karit tribe, his father's former Anda, who saw potential in the young warrior. Crucially, he also called upon his own Anda, Jamukha. Together, their combined forces launched a daring raid, crushed the Merkits, and rescued Borte. The success, however, also sowed the seeds of conflict between Temujin and Jamukha. Their friendship fractured under the weight of ambition and, well, differing leadership philosophies. Jamukha favored traditional aristocratic rule, while Temujin increasingly promoted followers based on merit and loyalty, regardless of birth. Their followers eventually separated. The rivalry culminated in battles, like the engagement at Dalan Balsut. Though Temujin may have suffered a tactical defeat there, many warriors, disillusioned with Jamukha's aristocratic ways or impressed by Temujin's resilience, defected to his side. Over the next decade, Temujin systematically eliminated his rivals through a combination of shrewd diplomacy, strategic brilliance, and ruthless warfare. He allied with Togrul Khan to crush the Tatars, finally avenging his father's death. He battled Jamukha's coalition multiple times. When Togrul Khan, perhaps fearing Temujin's growing power, turned against him, Temujin decisively defeated his former protector and absorbed the Karit forces. Finally, he confronted and defeated the powerful Nayman tribe in the west, whose leader Tayang Khan had challenged his ascent. Jamukha, his childhood friend turned bitter rival, was eventually captured and, according to some accounts, granted an honorable death at his own request. Temujin had overcome exile, betrayal, and countless enemies. The path to unifying the Mongol tribes lay open. In the spring of 1206, a momentous event occurred on the banks of the Onon River. A great Qurultai, a grand assembly of all the Mongol and allied Turkic tribes, was convened. Here, the tribal leaders, recognizing Temujin's unparalleled leadership and military success, formally proclaimed him the supreme ruler of all the peoples of the felt-walled tents. They bestowed upon him a new title, one that would resonate across continents, Chinggis Khan, often translated as Oceanic Ruler or Universal Ruler, signifying the boundless extent of his authority. The era of fragmented tribes was over. Genghis Khan immediately set about consolidating his power and organizing his new nation. He broke down old tribal loyalties, reorganizing the people and the army into decimal units, groups of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000. Command was based on loyalty and merit, not birthright. He established his imperial guard, the Kashig. He decreed the creation of a written script for the Mongolian language, adopting the Uyghur script, and he promulgated the Yassa, a secret written code of laws governing everything from military discipline and property rights to social behavior and religious tolerance, binding the newly unified nation together under a single legal framework. With the Mongols unified, Genghis Khan turned his attention outward. His motivations were likely complex: a need to keep the newly united tribes focused on external targets, control over lucrative trade routes, maybe even perceived threats or insults from neighboring states, and a belief in Tengri's mandate to rule the world. The first major target was the Tangut kingdom of Shishia to the south, which was subdued after several campaigns, securing a vassal state and resources. Next came the formidable Jin dynasty of northern China. The Mongols faced huge armies and massive fortified cities unlike anything on the steppe, but they adapted quickly, learning siege warfare from captured engineers, employing brutal tactics, and utilizing their cavalry's unmatched mobility. Years of devastating warfare followed, culminating in the capture and sack of the Jin capital, Zhengdu, near modern Beijing, in 1215. The conquest of northern China provided vast wealth, technological knowledge, and administrative expertise. From 1219 to 1221, the Mongols swept through the Khwarazmian Empire in a devastating campaign. Employing brilliant strategies, dividing his forces, using feigned retreats, appearing unexpectedly, Genghis Khan outmaneuvered and crushed the larger Khwarazmian armies. great centers of Islamic civilization, Bukhara, Samarkand, Urgench, Herat, were besieged, captured, and often subjected to horrific massacres and destruction. While the brutality was undeniable, the campaign showcased the terrifying efficiency and strategic genius of the Mongol military machine. It effectively destroyed a major empire and extended Mongol influence deep into the Islamic world. Genghis Khan's impact extended far beyond the battlefield. He was not just a conqueror, he was an empire builder. The Yassa, his law code, though harsh in its punishments, provided a unified legal framework across diverse peoples, aiming to suppress the feuding and banditry that had plagued the steppe and trade routes. His emphasis on loyalty and meritocracy created a remarkably effective administrative and military structure, drawing capable individuals into his service regardless of their origin. Unusually for the time, the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan practiced a pragmatic form of religious tolerance. As long as conquered peoples paid taxes and obeyed Mongol rule, they were generally allowed to practice their own faiths. Genghis himself consulted with leaders of various religions. This wasn't necessarily born from modern ideals of tolerance, but from practicality. It minimized resistance and allowed the empire to utilize the talents of all its subjects. Skilled artisans, engineers, doctors, scribes, and scholars were often spared during conquests and relocated to where their expertise was needed, facilitating a transfer of knowledge across Eurasia. To govern his vast domain, Genghis Khan established the Yam, an efficient postal relay system with staffed stations providing fresh horses and supplies for official messengers. This allowed for rapid communication across enormous distances, crucial for military coordination and administration. Furthermore, the unification brought by the Mongols, despite the initial destruction, created unprecedented security along the ancient Silk Road. Under the emerging Pax Mongolica, or Mongol peace, trade routes became safer, allowing merchants like Marco Polo decades later to travel from Europe to Asia, fostering an exchange of goods, technologies like gunpowder, paper, and the compass moving westward, ideas, and unfortunately, diseases, on a truly global scale for the first time. Towards the end of his life, Genghis Khan turned his attention back to the Shishya kingdom, which had refused to provide troops for the Khwarazmian Campaign, an act of defiance he could not ignore. He personally led his final campaign in 1226 to punish the Chinggis and ensure their complete subjugation. It was during this campaign in 1227 that the Great Khan died. The exact cause remains uncertain. Theories range from illness, like typhus, to injuries sustained in battle or falling from his horse. He was around 65 years old. According to Mongol tradition, his death and burial were kept secret to maintain morale during the ongoing campaign and ensure a smooth succession. His body was returned to his homeland in Mongolia and buried in an unmarked grave, its location lost to history, fueling centuries of speculation and searching. Before his death, he had ensured the continuity of his empire by designating his third son, the charismatic Yesugei, as his successor, a choice confirmed by a subsequent Qurultai. The founder was gone, but the empire he built was poised to expand even further under his descendants. Genghis Khan's death did not halt the Mongol expansion. His sons and grandsons, following his vision and utilizing the formidable machine he created, continued the conquests, forging the largest contiguous land empire in history. From the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, from Siberia to the Himalayas, the Mongol Khans ruled over an immense and diverse territory, profoundly impacting countless cultures and civilizations. So how do we remember Genghis Khan? The name evokes images of ruthless conquest, pyramids of skulls, cities razed to the ground, and the devastation inflicted by his armies was undeniably immense and horrific for those who resisted. Millions perished. Yet he was also the unifier of the Mongol people, the creator of a written language, a lawgiver who established order across vast domains. He fostered trade, communication, and cultural exchange between East and West on an unprecedented scale, laying the groundwork for the Pax Mongolica. He remains one of history's most complex and impactful figures, a testament to the power of singular vision, unwavering will, and strategic genius, but also a stark reminder of the devastating human cost of empire building. His journey from an outcast boy to the ruler of the largest kingdom the world had ever seen is an epic saga. Understanding Genghis Khan requires grappling with the paradox, the destroyer and the unifier, the barbarian and the visionary. His shadow looms large over history, challenging us to understand the forces that shape nations and the enduring, often contradictory legacy of power.